Suck it, Alex.
You know what? I'm gonna go back to class.
Aw, no.
Come on, hang out with us.
Alex,
Don't hang out
come
with
back.
The cool kids.
Alex.
I'll eat my lunch on the roof today.
And that's how we're starting the podcast, right?
Totally.
Like we're officially recording the podcast now.
Sure.
Okay,
So,
great, sure.
That works. Whatever.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome to the podcast. People who are awkwardly staring at us while we're talking.
No, I'm just imagining that the flavor of this podcast is a bunch of people grouped around us in the halls while we're just
like the
having
coolest
this
kids
chat
in
about anime. Go to class, people.
Jesus.
Oh, man.
This is the class.
So I have a question. Do you guys have this thing on your phone? It's so like, because I don't like getting every freaking comment I have, but like YouTube like cherry picks certain comments and sends them to me. Like, hey,
yes.
maybe you want to read this? And it's pretty great because it always sends the meanest fucking comments. Like every morning I'll wake up and like see the suggested comment and it's just like, you're a faggot. Like, thanks YouTube. That's really nice of you.
No, I'm sad. I'm sorry that YouTube hates you. Like, it sends me my meanest comments too, but just like it also mixes them in with some relatively nice comments, requests for a Hunter x Hunter video, and comments telling me that Bakugo is smart.
There you go.
Like, yeah, I just checked my comments, and there's one about Bakugo being smart there. God damn it, people, I know.
What about you, Alex?
I mean, I kind of have the interesting thing where I have two different channels, so I almost get like two different types of comments. The ones that I like on my wrestling channel, I'll make this like story thing, universe mode videos, and then people will comment and they'll leave like predictions and they'll talk about the show, and it's cool. And then other times it's just, you know, the usual YouTube stuff. You suck. One guy thought I might have been autistic, which was interesting.
Did he leave like a really long, thought-out comment, like arguing that you're autistic?
No,
or was it just you're an autist? Period.
Well, no, it was like a legitimate question. Like he asked if I was autistic. Yeah. So
well, this is a sign of him trying to care for you, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I guess
what's the I want to see if you guys have something that beats mine. What's the meanest comment you've ever received?
Well, we have to know what your meanest comment is first.
Okay, true enough. So I did a video on Yuri on Ice, which was a huge mistake. It's my most popular video by a long shot. And it fucking, like, I got some of the meanest comments on that video.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll never forget this one. It was just about some, what is it called? Tumblrite woman coming onto my video, starting off by saying, first off, I'm never going to watch any of your shitty content and all this stuff. And then just torrent me for mansplaining Yuri on Ice. And then there was another term, I don't even know what it meant. I looked it up at the time, and I was just so confused. But it was like this violent comment that like told me that I should go kill myself, basically, in the most cruel, like, Tumblrite way. And I was like, okay. Like, that video, like, I didn't even say anything. I said only nice things about the show. Like, I was just talking about how good of the show Yuri on Ice was. Like, wasn't mean about anything. It wasn't even that good of a fucking video. But she just fucking tore into me like I just, like, beat the shit out of her friend or something.
Yeah.
That's probably the meanest comment I've gotten. I mean, it was because, you know, generally I'm not too offended by the kill yourselves or you're a faggot or any of the other, like, just, like, you know, terrible ones. Just because I get them so often, it's like, okay.
Yeah, it's really interesting that would happen on a video about Yuri on Ice. Because I feel like Yuri on Ice is one of those shows that, like, people get incredibly attached to. Because, like, what Yuri on Ice is good. It's the show that promotes representation of groups that are horrendously underrepresented in anime. And it doesn't make a big deal out of it. So people see the show and they feel this incredibly personal connection to it. So, like, it makes sense to me that that your meanest comment would be on a video about Yuri on Ice.
Yeah, no, I concur.
Yeah. I don't know. I had a comment on one of my videos, and there's this person who has some kind of vendetta against me. There were a few people, but let's see if I can find the video. It's not the dub one.
I have a group of 6 that comment on every single one of my
6?
videos. Yes, 6 people. I know their names. They don't know I watch them, but it's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Like, 2 of them are nice to me, but, like, the other 4 are just violent. Actually, I got one to unsub yesterday. I was pretty proud of that.
Right.
But they never say anything to me, and just always, like, really critical of anything I make.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like you know, like one of the people got really mad that I was making My Hero Academia videos, so she'd lose her crap every time I made one.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just like I warned them I was making multiple My Hero Academia videos this week. Well, this month.
Yeah.
And then she was like, you know, like anytime I don't make a My Hero Academia video, she's got something to say. Like, why'd you review like such and such show when you could have reviewed this show that no one's ever heard about, that no one will ever watch the video on?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think you just kind of answered your own fucking question there.
Yeah.
I didn't make a fucking review on that freaking video.
God. Okay, I found possibly God, I can't say this is my meanest comment, but it's the one that I'm just totally flabbergasted by. It's the pinned comment on my Made in Abyss video, and it says, "I take back what I said, you're not only as bland as an unsalted cracker, you're also insufferable." And like,
So good.
yeah, this person just started commenting on the Weebcast video when I did that. And I don't know why. I don't know what their problem is with me. Well, except that I'm bland as an unsalted cracker and also insufferable. Like, I'll give them the insufferable part, but my videos are cool. Shut up.
That's amazing.
Yeah, like, that's the kind of comment that you just have to sit back like, okay, you get pinned now.
There you go.
Because one of my favorite things to do with my pinned comments, like, ultimately, I always try to pin a comment that disagrees with me, because, like, that's good discourse. But sometimes you see a vitriolic comment like that that's just unnecessarily rude for no reason with no explanation. And you're just like, all right, you get pinned. This is amazing. Like, because one of my favorite things to do is just vindictively pinning negative comments for fun.
Yeah, because that kind of baits the rest of your audience to fight them, which is kind of mean in its own right.
It's kind of mean, but it's also funny.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. I mean, leaving mean comments is mean, so I don't feel bad about it.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. I need to replace this pinned comment with one that's actually constructive. But plus, this one has 159 likes now, so it'll be on the front page anyway.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. Alex,
Alex,
what is
your
your
turn.
meanest comment?
This now are we sticking like exclusively to comments that were posted on YouTube or just stuff
no,
related?
I say I feel like you have like I'm guessing you're going to Reddit, but yes, that's
Yeah, Reddit had an amazing comment a couple of months back on my my top 10 anime characters of all time video, because I don't know, I guess I wasn't over dramatic enough about the of all time bit. But this guy was he had said like, oh, this guy sounds like an elitist and he thinks like he's better than everyone else, and he's just like because like back in the day, like in my earlier videos, I would mention Digibro a lot just because he said stuff that I agreed with and was related to the video. So the guy was like, oh, he's just always kissing up to Digibro, and he just wants Senpai to notice him. And it was a very, like, I say it's the meanest comment in that it was very aggressive, and it was like it felt like a personal attack on me as a person. So it was fun times. I mean, Reddit is always the best place I go for when it comes to civil discourse. I mean, of course, this doesn't
That's
apply
what
to
Reddit's
Reddit
known for.
It doesn't apply to Reddit as a whole, but for the most part, I guess they just don't like self-promotion, but that's really mainly what I use it for, and they don't like people like me who do that. And I guess that's fair to them. I'm invading on their turf.
I get your point. Like, I refuse to post anything on r/anime anymore. Just like some of the violent responses I got back then. Like, I kind of agree with you that it's more like they go for like a much more personal touch in their offensive comments. Just ridiculous.
Although on I guess a more lighthearted note, my wrestling channel typically doesn't get too many like super negative comments, but this one person, sometime last year left a comment on one of my videos where I had these two wrestlers facing each other, and one of them happened to be a black guy, one of them happened to be a white guy, and the white guy won. And he's like, "Oh, you racist, you're a Donald Trump supporter." Brr. And it was legitimately one of the funniest hate comments I ever got on any video, and it always will stick with me. It was great.
Yeah. So, what's the best comment you guys have ever gotten? Like, have there ever been any comments that just really tugged at your heartstrings? Like,
I love
yeah, you get me, commenter.
I love seeing the
go
comments
first this time because you forced us.
What? No, I asked the question. You go first. I have to think of something.
All right. Well, Alex seems to have a response, so you go first.
Well, one thing that if I picked out a mean comment for my top 10 video, I'm gonna pick out some good ones. Because what I really like is what really touches me is a lot of the comments on that video where I was really trying to go for a more like personal. I mean, the entire top 10 video was very personal to me, so I was kind of just throwing myself out there, and was trying to have some moments which could like maybe tug at your heartstrings. And it's great when I was getting the comments where people were like, "Yo, I teared up during this. That was beautiful. The editing and the sound and everything." And I was like, "Oh, I did something right. That means so much to me. Thank you, all you lovely commenters, for enjoying my piece of work."
Mm-hmm.
It's always nice. I'd have to say my best comment was one of the first ones I got when I was about 50 or so subscribers. At that point, I made like 35 videos, and I was averaging like 20 views per video. And some guy just commented like, "Hey man, I just want to let you know your content's really good." And he's like, right now it might be tough, but I'm sure like down the road you'll be one of the bigger anime YouTubers out there. He's like, "Good luck on your path to success." I was just like, oh god, it pulled at every heartstring because I was like in like a freaking crisis. I was like, God, I'm only getting like 30 views on each video. I was dropping like 12 hours a freaking week into no, it was 24 hours a week because I was doing 2 videos a week at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just dying, and I was like, why the fuck am I still doing this to myself?
Yep.
Those comments are great. Really, really motivating. It really makes you want to go out there and spend another 12 hours cranking out more videos.
Basically. It kept me going for a while. So, I was really happy about that.
Yeah. God, just the comments that mean the most to me are... There are 2 kinds of comments. First are the ones where people say that I've inspired them to do something. So, like, whenever I think back at when I was first starting out doing this, I was watching Jeff's videos, I was watching Digi's videos, and I was like, oh man, there's this really passionate community of media analysis on YouTube. Like, this is stuff that I love to do. I should get involved with this. And then I did, and I'm like, okay, so I've done this, people love it, now what? Like, what have I contributed to the world by doing this is something that I ask myself a lot. And when I hear that other people are starting to make content because they like what I do, that gives me this sense of, like, legitimacy, like I've done something, like I've made a positive change in different people's lives. And then there's the flip side of that, where I get comments from Jeff and Digi, and you, Alex. Like, Alex, when you made that video about my tournament arc, that was one of my proudest moments as a YouTuber. And just watching that really made me feel like, I don't know, like I'd done something worth doing. So, yeah, thank you so much for making that. That was amazing. And good analysis, too.
You're welcome. I love making that video. I just like... because I completely agree with you. The comments where like people are saying like, "Hey, you inspired me to start my own channel, do my own work." that really means a lot because like when you're starting this out and you're obviously taking inspiration from other people and it's just like, wow, maybe one day I can be like them, but it doesn't really feel like you might ever get there. Like like for me, I've only just kind of started this up this year. I have a ton of improvements I still need to make. But even then, it's cool to see other people see what you're doing and say, hey, that's really cool. You inspired me. And it's that nice full circle moment where it's like, wow, this is what it must be like for these people I've looked up to. And I'm really also into that whole like meta aspect. So talking about the pedantic romantic in that video is just fun because I'm looking at these people who inspire me, and then like me making that video can inspire others, and it's just this. It's like maybe not a self-fulfilling prophecy. Maybe that's not the word I'm looking for, but it's like this cycle where you just kind of pass things down the ladder, and it just keeps on going. Good vibes all around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, knowing that other people are taking inspiration from my work and getting recognized by the people that I took inspiration from. Like, Dan Floyd commented on one of my videos. Like, it's fucking insane. So, I don't know. Makes me all happy.
See, I'm just jealous. This went from me, like, being, like, really, like, passionate and happy about it to being, like, oh yeah, Digibro and all these people comment on my videos. Like, fuck you.
Digibro's never commented on my videos, actually, now that I think about it. But,
there you go.
No, like, hell, man, I'm jealous. And I'm the one getting the comments. Like, I can't believe it.
No, I'll tell you what, another kind of comment I really enjoy is someone who likes to, let me make this clear, respectively challenge my argument. Because that was one of the first things I really tried to set up with my channel, is that a lot of my arguments when I first started making my channel, I didn't 100% agree with. I would try to like make a debate, an argument that I believed was right, but wasn't 100% sure on, to see if anyone could challenge me. And that was always one of my favorite things about doing this YouTube thing, is that now I've kind of raised a decent portion of my audience to challenge everything I make. And I get a lot of really good arguments in every single one of my videos. And for me, that is the best part. I love reading the arguments. I used to respond to every single like well-written comment, but now it's gotten to the point where it's a little bit more difficult. Yeah. But that's another one of my absolute favorite kind of comments to receive, are these like ones that go through my video. That like, okay, I see what you're trying to say here, but I think you overanalyze this part. I think it would have been more correct if it was this way. And for those who are like, oh shit, you're right. Like I just fucked up. Those are probably some of my favorites.
The constructive criticism, the people who don't try to tear your head off, who actually want to see you improve, try to help you improve. Those are always great. So shout out to everyone who leaves, all of you watching us in the crowd over there. Shout out to you guys for leaving those constructive comments. It really means a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And like, Matt, you mentioned overanalysis in your sentence there. So what I want to know is, and I realize that this isn't on our like totally non-existent list of things that we're talking about on this podcast today. But what do you think of this whole idea of overanalysis? Like, can you go too deep into something?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I have satire videos on it. I think it's a case of like, check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Yeah.
It's a case of like, okay, did the artist really mean that? Like, you really have to think about it. Because like, for instance, I have a video on why you should watch Eromanga Sensei, which is a satire video of overanalyzing content. And I overanalyzed it to the point where I made it North Korean propaganda. Great. So like, I mean, if that isn't proof that you can't overanalyze something. I actually almost made it into a series. I did another one on the Akashic Records of Bastard Magic. But it's a case of like, every once in a while I want to make one of these kind of comedy videos where I overanalyze something to remind myself not to go that far in my own analysis. Because sometimes I do. There's a few times where I know I'm pushing it. Where I'm like, I think they mean that, but I'm not sure if I'm pushing that too far. So it's a case for me of like always double checking, like double backing and going, okay, did the artist really mean that? Or am I just making that up to fill time in this video or to back up my argument?
Do you think it matters what the artist meant?
I think it does for the case of, because for me, it's most of my pieces are argumentative. I can't speak today. So like for me to force a meaning out of something to benefit my own argument is bad. It's not a good argument. That means I'm basically lying to push my argument forward. Whereas if there's something that's very obvious that the artist definitely meant, then I can kind of pull from that and then make it a decent argument. And like I said, one of my favorite videos is why Bakugo will be the number one hero. It's because not a single piece in that video is forced. Everything is there but naturally. I didn't know that when I first started making the video, so I was trying to be careful not to go too far. But then by the end of the video, I convinced myself that I was like, shit, I think Bakugo will be the number one hero. You know, so it's a case of, it makes you make better content by not going too deep.
Right.
And it makes you, I don't know, if you want to overanalyze, I say be careful. Make sure you like reference it at the beginning of what you're saying. Like sometimes I know I'll go a little bit too deep on something and like just before prior warning like this, I'm not entirely sure this is the case, but you know.
Well, what I always want to ask when people talk about overanalyzing things is, why is the artist's interpretation of the work more valuable than your interpretation of the work?
Oh, well, that goes back to my whole thing, is that I don't want to force an idea to happen inside the artist's work in order to fit an argument I'm making. Because that's just, for me, that's like a lie. It's like, oh yeah, this character totally felt this way during the scene. In order to fit this argument, when if you watch that scene, it's not, you can't tell if that's the case or not.
Well, all right, I see what you're saying, but my main idea of what it means to be a YouTuber doing this kind of work is that my job is to help people appreciate media. And in order to do that, I think that the best way is to help people create connections between themselves and the media that they love. So, by finding some obscure angle that lets you say, okay, I relate to Deku in this way because of this thing, no matter what, what's the guy's name, Horikoshi? No matter what the mangaka thought when he was writing that scene, if you can draw something out of that scene, as long as it's internally consistent with the story, then I don't see any reason why that interpretation should be less valuable than the mangaka's interpretation.
No, I don't disagree with you. I think what you're saying is absolutely correct. I just have to check myself, because sometimes I'll force things I don't believe into my work that I know I'm lying about. It's a case of like, if I put something I don't believe in, but I don't think I'm lying about, I'll let that slide. But if I don't believe in it and I know I'm lying about it, just to all fit my argument, nah. I gotta cut that shit. You know? Yeah, I think pulling meaning out of work by accident, I think is a good way to do things. I think it's nice. I'm trying to think of an example that works well. What about you, Alex?
Well, I know. I know if we're on the topic of overanalyzing things, my video about Explanation Point is in itself a bit of overanalysis. Like, oh, he's just making videos on YouTube. I mean, is there really that much to analyze? But I made this whole video talking about like the themes of his tournament arc and everything surrounding that. And you could say, well, did you really have to make that video? Like, what really? I mean, are you sure this is what he was going for? But I mean, I still ran with it. I still made it anyway. I mean, kind of the whole point of making that video was like, because it's not like I didn't fact check anything with the source. I don't know exactly what he had intended, but I just kind of wanted to. It was a video I didn't take too seriously, because sometimes I feel like with the videos that I make, sometimes I feel like, oh, it has to follow this, and this structure, and you know, it has to say this certain point. There has to be something. I lost where I was going with that, but there's got to be something I need to say with this. Whereas with that video, it was kind of, I wanted to have, like, originally I had a more serious script written out for it, then I was like, wait, I don't know if I'm really behind this. So then I just kind of mixed it up, and I made it a little less serious, kind of just played into the absurdity of it in a way, and I think that made it all the better.
Well, one thing that I wanted to mention about that is in your video about my video about Watamote, is you mentioned two things. First, about how Pedro has a history of analyzing Anitube, so he would definitely have one of those Anituber notebooks.
Yeah.
I knew that, but I wasn't consciously thinking about that when I wrote the script. It was just like, oh, we'll give him a hero notebook. That'll be funny. And same deal with when you mentioned when Pedro linked to his own Patreon instead of Lewis's. Because he'd already done that in some of Jeff's videos. I didn't know that. That was just another joke. But looking into those things and finding these connections and realizing, oh, this actually does have some connection to reality, it made me appreciate my own content more, which I think is like the ultimate thing you can do as an Anituber, is make somebody appreciate something that they made on a deeper level. So I think that that's one of the biggest strikes against this whole authorial intent argument that Matt brought up. Like, it didn't matter if I meant to do that or not. The fact that I did that makes the work better. Even if it was an accident on my part. And it doesn't make analyzing it any less valid.
Yeah, I think I see where you're getting at. Because someone could have watched that video and not made the same connections that I did, and they might have... like, for me, that like when I first watched it, it really hit me, because I just felt... I don't know, I maybe felt more of a stronger emotional attachment to that sequence than some of the other people watching it. They might have just kind of seen it as a funny skit, and yeah, that definitely is not based on the intent of what you had designed. Were you going for this big emotional? Were you trying to tug at people's heartstrings like it impacted me? I mean, I don't know.
Who cares?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Nothing matters in the end, guys.
Yeah, we're all gonna die. Come watch TV.
There we go.
Yeah.
Anyway, while we're on the topic of Pedro, did you guys see his YouTube as a career video?
I sure did.
You bet.
Alex?
Yes, I did.
Oh, is his mic out again?
Oh my
No, he's
goodness, am I
talking.
here?
And there he is.
Sorry, I was walking down the hall.
What do you guys... first off, opinions.
Well, it's been a while since I've seen it, because he posted on Twitter 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, just about.
So yeah, it's been a while since I've seen it, but if I remember right, he was talking about how YouTube is becoming the next, rock star or high school janitor or, artist, in that it's the career that kids aspire to when they want, a big, famous job. So, I mean, he's right. It's just a question of where the future's going. So,
yeah, well, I mean, I had my doubts when I originally saw the video, and I've been thinking about it more and more lately, because it's just kind of something, that's, as a YouTuber, it's always kind of on my mind. And I wonder if we just have a bias. As people who basically live on YouTube, is it just too easy? Are we too, narrow focused on YouTube? Oh yeah, since I spend, 8 hours a day on YouTube, does that mean everybody spends 8 hours a day on YouTube? I know my friends, a few of my family members definitely do it too, but I'm not entirely sure if that's just because we're all introvert losers who just fucking sit in the house all day, So I'm not entirely sure. I mean, YouTube as a career is definitely possible, but it's fucking hard. Kind of like being a rock star. So I guess that's, it doesn't make much of a difference. I don't know. I find it like a really weird place. I know, for a fact, if you're gonna be a rock star and you do make it, you're set. Like that's fine. Like that's a real career. No one's gonna fucking judge you for that. I mean, not judge you, but no one's gonna fucking like say it's not a career. Whereas YouTube, you know, it gets a lot of hate from a lot of people.
Right.
So, you know.
That's only because it's new, though.
Yeah, I mean, you might be right. I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, YouTube as a career has only been around for, what, 5-10 years?
Not even 10
Not
years.
even 10.
Yeah, like maybe about 5 or 6.
Yeah.
Because YouTube's only been around for 11 years total.
Mm-hmm.
Because it was created in 2006, if I'm not mistaken.
As far as I know.
So, I don't know. Like, it's a neat process. Either way, like you brought up a few good points. We've briefly discussed this before in an unnamed podcast. But, I don't know. It makes me nervous. Like I don't like having this being my only source of income, so I work multiple other jobs just to be safe in case YouTube goes down for a week and I go, oh well, I'm bankrupt.
Yeah.
Opinions, Alex?
Well, I mean, at this point, I think the situation has changed as now more people are kind of pursuing this. You have the rise of sites like Patreon where people. They don't necessarily have to be funded exclusively through YouTube ad revenue, which recently this past year has seemingly taken a nosedive as far as consistency goes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, the likelihood that YouTube would just go down for a week seems, I don't think it seems very likely because, I mean, this is run by Google. There's just, it would take a lot, I think, for it to go down. I mean, maybe... I don't know, because like PlayStation Network went down, and that's a public thing that happened a couple years back. So maybe it could happen, but even then, like at this point, when you have creators who make a living more so through Patreon, they could post their videos elsewhere and still make the same amount of money. Although I guess not everybody uses Patreon, so I guess if such a situation would occur, it would kind of vary for different people depending on what you make. And how you
go ahead.
How you like release your stuff, I guess.
Well, my point about Patreon is that like I don't know if you two are. I mean, you two are. I haven't seen your Patreon, Alex, but Brian, like you're a god at Patreon. Like for me, like you know, I get like I'm at like 15,000 subs roughly, and I only have like $25 in patrons.
Mm-hmm.
But like for you, like how much do you make in? I know this is personal, but anyone can see it who fucking clicks on your website anyway. How much do you make a month?
It's 30,000 a month, thereabouts.
30,000?
Nah, it's $1,047.
Yeah, I don't know how the fuck you get that far. That's insane. What about you, Alex?
Well, I know I'm not much bigger than you at this point because you've recently kind of caught up to me, but I have around 100 a month for my 17, almost 18,000.
I think the reason why you guys both are much better on Patreon than I am is because both of your videos both have like personal touches to them. Like you were just explaining, like Alex, your whole thing with you kind of went in depth with your own kind of issues in your top 10 video. But like for me, like I try to always keep like my mental state and my YouTube channel separate because for me I get nervous because I don't I bounce back and forth, so shit can go really south really quick. So I don't know. I think that might be my biggest ineffectiveness. Maybe I just suck at Patreon. Maybe I just suck at advertising. That's another possibility. I'm jealous. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I don't know. Like, I don't know, referring to this whole idea of keeping your personal and professional life separate as a YouTuber.
Well, I know that's physically impossible. Like, especially like the larger I'm getting, I'm having to like be a little bit more consistent on my social media. Like, I never post on social media. Like, even in my real life, like I don't post at anything ever. But people are like, you gotta post more on Twitter. You gotta post more on Snapchat and shit like that. So I'm like,
right.
I'm watching anime right now. Who would have guessed?
Mm-hmm.
Well, for me,
like,
I kind of.
Oh, go ahead, Alex.
Well, I mean, like Matt was talking about, like, oh, I got to post more on social media. For me, I don't really have like a personal thing. Like the best I have is a Facebook that I never check. That's really like the only thing connected to the person behind the scenes. For the most part, like, my YouTube personality just is my online personality. I've just kind of it's how I've been really ever since I started, just because I never I never really had that desire to go online from like just a personal sort of, I guess, perspective, and just kind of chat with or do whatever from like just me. I've just kind of at this point, since I've been doing this for so long, I've just kind of I don't want to say that my YouTube self and my real self have become inseparable, but there definitely is much more of a crossover than someone who, say, maybe has only been doing this for like a year. But I think part of that is just because I'm generally an open, honest person. I think part of that is just I don't know any better. That's just how I think to act, and I don't consider the repercussions of it. But yeah, that's just kind of how I run things.
Yeah, I think trying to have a separate online persona at this point is something that's just not going to be possible for very much longer. I feel like it's like trying to be somebody else over the telephone than you are in your living room. Because the internet has become such an indelible part of our lives in the modern day that trying to hide part of yourself from the net, it's just not going to work out very well.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not trying to say like I have a persona, like man,
well,
man
right,
is not
but
me. Like, this is totally how I am in real life.
Yeah,
but at
a
the
less
same
strong
time,
word then.
Yeah, it's a case of just like, trying to hit personal notes. Like, I've done it once in one video, and it was positively received. Like, I did why people watch anime. Like, that video, I kind of went into like my backstory of like why I started watching anime, which is personal. But for me, like, I don't want to delve too much into that stuff because, like, there's not much there to begin with, because I don't do much in life, honestly, besides just work on film sets and work on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Like I said, I'm a really kind of closed off person in real life. So I guess I'm also closed off on YouTube,
right?
Which is not a good advantage, which is really not the smartest idea.
People respond to content that they can relate to. So
I should actually be pretty big then. That's what you're saying.
I just feel like being open is really advantageous to content creators these days.
No, I understand.
Yeah.
Especially now
I'm working on it, guys. Just give me some time. I promise.
Mm.
And I think especially now with the rise of Patreon, where people are then funding your content because they want to see you keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Especially then, like, if you're not being honest with people, then, I mean, people are going to be suspicious, and it's less likely that, I mean, it's not like, Matt, it's not like you're dishonest with people, but it's really tough to, like, pretend to be someone you're not, and then also expect people to, like, I guess, trust you with that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Is anything that I'm saying making any sense?
Yeah, no, it does. I see where you're going with it. I think it's less about, I don't know. I think I just kind of walked in a circle with this conversation. It's more of a case of just like, I don't think I'm not being myself, but at the same time, like, I just try not to be open about it, which is what the main issue is not being open about that kind of stuff, and not giving most of my content like a personal touch.
Yeah.
Like in my last Hero Academia video, I try to go into like a little rant where I kind of expressed how like passionate I am about the show.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I think that's a good start. I think it might just be a case of experience too. Like for me, like, I've only been making this kind of content for a year. Now, before this, I only worked on like sets as a production assistant or like just an editor and so on. So I'm still like learning the process. Like if you go back and watch some of my older videos, Jesus Christ, they're terrible. But I'm still I'm mostly just involving in the technical side for the past year. But now I've kind of reached the point where I'm satisfied with how my videos look technically. So now I'm trying to go into the case of script writing,
right?
Which is definitely my biggest weakness. I won't deny that ever. I know for a fact that when it comes to scripts, like watching any of Pedro's videos hurts me.
He's such a good
his
script
scripts
writer.
are so fucking good.
Mm-hmm.
They're
They
like,
are.
can you just, Pedro, stop? Like, you're making me cry.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, God. And you two, too. You two are both really good script writers. And I'm just, like, so far behind in that field because I never was much of a writer. Like the original reason for creating this channel was to become an editor, but now that I've gotten to that point that I'm kind of satisfied with my editing skills, it's like, all right, well let's improve a skill that I'm weak at, and that's definitely writing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's interesting that you bring that up
Probably another year.
Because now that you've brought that up, I kind of want to pitch the question. Why is it that you wanted to pursue YouTube in the first place? Like, what about it? As far as like, I guess differentiating it between this is something I want to do as a hobby versus this is something I want to pursue as a career. Like, what were your motivations behind taking that approach, or what might prevent you from taking it?
Oh, okay. Wait, say that one more time.
I guess what I'm trying to say is what motivates you to try to pursue YouTube as a career, or what might prevent you from doing so? Like, personally.
Yeah, okay, I see your point. Well, the thing is, I still have a lot of things kind of going for my life. Like, I just moved out to LA to work in the film industry around here. So I still have other dreams I want to accomplish. This was originally just meant to be a 1-year side project. Cuz I wanted to test to see if I could create another successful YouTube channel within a year. Cuz I recently, like back in high school, I created a YouTube channel, and within a year I had 4,000 subscribers and like 750,000 views. And I was like wanting to see if that was just kind of like a luck thing, or if I could repeat it, if I had enough skills to do it twice. Mm-hmm. And then I did. Like, I was able to do it. I got like 5K subs in a year, and then like not as many views, but still pretty well done. Mm-hmm. So I was kind of satisfied with it, but I found myself kind of addicted to YouTube after that because of a very addictive personality. And I was like, well, you know what? I'm going to keep making content and just see if I can keep improving myself technically. Because right now, like, I have enough free time to do this kind of stuff. Like, I can fuck around and do this stuff. Because, like, right now, most of my time goes to working at Domino's and then doing some pure production assistant work. And then I have still, like, 20 hours a week I can just spend on either gaming or YouTube. So I spend it on YouTube. So that's what I've been doing.
So you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but is it kind of like a means to an end? Like, you want to do stuff in this general field, so having a YouTube channel gives you a chance to kind of like improve your editing and script writing and whatnot, or am I off base here?
No, that's exactly it. You're completely on point with me. I think that maybe that's the reason why. It's because when I created this YouTube channel, it was all about like, it doesn't matter how many views I get, it doesn't matter how many subs I get. Like, I just wanted 1,000 by the year's end, just kind of as like as a way of like giving myself a passing grade to see that I'm not doing terrible. But like, that's it. You called me on that one. This just turned into a counseling session, didn't it? Is this like, all right, Matt, we need to have a serious talk now.
How does that make you feel, Matt?
How does it make me feel? It makes me feel angry. No, I mean, it's great. I think YouTube's like one of the best places to test your skills out in the world, because it's such. I mean, it basically is the world. Like for let's say like just for like the film industry. Like I've applied so many techniques I've learned from YouTube to the film industry here in LA, and like I've only been here for 2 months, but I've already got a decent number of connections. I'm already doing kind of well for myself, despite being like a nobody that came from southern Louisiana, Mm-hmm. So, I mean, YouTube is fucking fantastic for that. And I'm super thankful for that. And I want to keep doing YouTube because I'm super passionate about anime. Like just really passionate about anime because I love the film medium, like obviously because I'm a filmmaker. And I feel like anime right now is like the gold rush of filmmaking right now. Like, there's so much original thought going in, like the whole entire system that's being created around it, like how it runs, how they push out so many shows, how it's all small businesses, how like each season there's all these new shows that try to outdo each other. I think it's just like the perfect environment for experimenting with how to tell stories through the film medium. Mm-hmm. And that's why I fucking love anime so much, So this channel like hits so many, like, I kill so many birds with a single stone of this channel, for me personally,
right?
That I don't think I'm gonna stop doing it anytime soon, just because it helps me analyze how they do things, and it makes me like double think about everything I do on YouTube and anime.
No, I think that's great.
Just went on like a 10-minute rant, didn't I? All right, let's move on to the next topic. Sounds good.
I actually think class is about to start. We've been
Is it
going
about
for
to
about
start?
an hour.
Oh shit, have we? Okay,
A little bit less.
a little bit less.
We have time for like one more topic, I think.
All right, well let's just go ahead since we're still doing only YouTube stuff. Best part about being a YouTuber?
That cash money, baby.
Cash money.
Yeah,
All
the-
$30 a
That
month.
insane YouTube money. Dealing with copyright strikes, that's just the best.
My favorite part has been the whole demonetization thing, because you never know when it's going to strike, so it keeps things exciting.
Yeah.
True story.
Instability,
Always on the edge of your seat, you never know when...
having to explain to my friends and family what I do,
Oh, yeah,
not being able to
the
hide my
best.
love of anime from potential friends and romantic partners.
Yeah, that's the hardest
It's fucking
part.
great.
I try not to like ever pick up a girl who doesn't know what anime is, because like if she comes to my room and then sees all my posters, it's gonna be a long night. Like, okay, let me explain what this one is.
Hmm.
Why are there 14-year-old girls on the front? Okay, no, I swear to God, not weird. It's just anime. I
Why are
swear.
there 14-year-old girls in the front, Matt?
Because it's a certain scientific railgun, and I love that show.
No, YouTube's pretty great. It's an artistic medium that lets you do things that most other artistic mediums don't. Media. So, like, putting weird text and funny cropped pictures on a black background isn't something that you can paint. It's not something that you can do as a live show. Or, like, an opera. So, I
But, I
feel
mean,
like this
you've
kind of
given it a
content
shot.
creation is
You've-
something that you... What'd you say?
I was going to say, you've given the opera part a shot. You've had some good musical numbers in your videos so far.
I do my best.
Oh yeah,
Trying to tie my background into my work. But yeah, it's just the kind of art that you can only create on YouTube, and I think that's what's really cool about it.
It's like having your own TV show.
Kind of,
That's
except that
my favorite part.
yeah,
Okay.
TV is a lot more restrictive than YouTube is.
Well, yeah, it's like having your own TV show that you can do anything with.
Mhm.
So like you got like shit like Filthy Frank, who just stuff that would never be legal anywhere else, but YouTube it's allowed.
Mhm.
And then like for me, like I can do my little educational videos weekly, and you slowly build up an audience. It's just it's an awesome platform.
Mhm.
Alex.
Well, I know for me, like, I originally went to get a degree in college for this type of thing. Like, I wanted to do... I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do something with media, like, whether that was, like, filming stuff or acting or whatever the case may be. But then I kind of realized while I was there that YouTube kind of has all the potential interests that I have, and I can just kind of tie it all together into one project, which I don't think is something that you can do with a lot of other media. Like, with some of the stuff I get to do, like on my wrestling channel, I edit the videos, I do the commentary for it. So in that sense, I'm kind of getting into character, and I'm, just doing whatever I want, and that's fun. But then I'm also like, I get to do the script writing stuff here. With that wrestling show that I make, I get to kind of do like storytelling, because I'm planning out all the different matches and like how are people going to get from one place to another, and what is this going to mean for their characters. So in a sense, I'm also kind of like the thing that I've always said is that if I didn't want to do something with media, I would have wanted to be a writer. Like I would have wanted to write some sort of a story, which it's not that I'm getting away from that necessarily, because I could still do that if I wanted to. I could find a way to make it work, but there's just a lot of small components, like potential things that I might be interested in, but perhaps not interested in enough to pursue solely as a career. Like, if I wanted to just be an editor, I would feel very kind of restricted, because then I'm missing out on all the other stuff that I get to do with YouTube. Or if I just wanted to be an actor, then I wouldn't be like as hands-on with perhaps what I'd want to do. Whereas with YouTube, I can take all these different components and just compile them into one project, or like one or two things, and it's really satisfying to be able to do that, to be able to incorporate a bunch of different interests and put it all in one, rather than having to kind of pick one and single that out and just follow it like straight line, go straight for it. I thought I had more to say, but that was kind of it.
I think
Sweet
that was
deal.
plenty.
All right, guys. I think we should probably head to class. Until
Yeah.
next time. This has been Manime Matt.
Explanation points.
And MathWiz 97 is actually here today.
See you guys around.
Bye.